Greetings, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Inspired Conversations, the show where we live the legacy with legends. I am joined today by another legend. Tiyiselani Mokhari is a qualified social worker, certified speaker, trainer, and coach. And he's joining me today to share his journey. Mr. Mokhari.
Yes, sir.
Thank you, sir, and you're welcome.
Thank you.
Now, I've introduced yourself, but you know yourself better than me.
Of course.
Can you please share?
So Tiyiselani Mokhari is a 28-year-old young male, very goal-driven. I'm a social worker by profession, as you've stated already. I graduated from the University of Johannesburg. I'm also a property estate agent with SIF Properties. I'm also a life coach, as you've stated, a trainer, a motivational speaker. Also running an organization known as Rich Learning Mentorship Program for Boys.
Okay. Rich Learning Mentorship for Boys. I'm actually inspired by that program. Why is Riching Learning for Boys and not for girls? Because nowadays, when you watch TV, when you listen to the radio,
Of course.
it's about women empowerment, it's about girls empowerment.
Yeah.
So why boys?
And I like the fact that you've just mentioned that it's about women, it's about girls. And when you look at the issues that are being talked about with women and girls, they concern a boy child or a man or a male, so to say. And I looked at this issue, or all of these societal problems that we have. Usually a male figure is always seen as the perpetrator. And if you look at the type of programs that we have, whether they are government funded or private sector, but as they focus on a girl child, a boy child is neglected, and yet he's the one who's being seen as the perpetrator to all of these issues. So I thought to myself, if we are going to look at empowering a girl child, but not attend to the person who's actually the cause of the problem, then we'll continue to have these problems of domestic violence, rape, and whatnot. So I thought, how about I do something for a boy child that actually seeks to attend attentively to emotional needs of a boy child. Yes.
And what actually inspired you to come up with such program?
It's personal experiences, I must say. Growing up in the rural villages of Limpopo, at some point when my parents separated, I had to stay with my stepmother. And my dad was away for some time. He is one person who used to work far away from home. So he would come back home maybe twice in a month or sometimes once in a month, you know. So it was not easy to be in love with my dad. And at the same time, my biological mother was not there. And there I was as the only boy child in the family with two younger sisters who was being emotionally and physically abused by my stepmother. And when I transformed and grew up and ended up enrolling for social work at the University of Johannesburg, I started to realize that there's actually a lot of young boys that are going through a lot of what I went through. And that's one of the reasons why these boys are using anger to lash out on women and girls. It's because they have issues that they have not dealt with themselves. I was one of those persons who had not dealt with my own issues. But I had to start by dealing with myself first before I could want to fix other people's issues. So that's how Rich Learning was born. It was inspired by personal experiences and some of the issues that I had to work on as a social worker when I started practicing.
So the choice of doing social work, did you choose it based on the background that you come from, or you just chose it then?
No, it's a very interesting question. There's something I need to mention about our education system, you know. When you are a black child in some high school trying to figure out what is it that you want to become in future, you are being programmed to say you are good at mathematics, you should go do engineering or whatnot. But as you go through that path, you realize that this is not what I want to do. This is not what I think I was born to do. So when I got to UJ, I had passed very well in biology. And I was told and encouraged that, you know what, you should study biology further because you got an A in biology. And that was it for me. But when I got there and they started to compare my qualifying marks, I did not qualify for biology. And I was so disappointed. And I asked them, what other courses are available? And they said social work. And I said, okay, let me take social work. So that's how I got into social work. And as I went through the channels of social work and whatnot, I fell in love with it. And it helped me to discover myself, my purpose and whatnot. And now I'm no longer in love with biology. And I'm thinking to myself, had I fallen for biology, there would be no rich learning. There would be no Tiyiselani Mokhari who's trying to attend to something or issues that are affecting a boy child. None of that would have been born.
So are you saying it was actually a blessing in disguise, as they normally say?
Of course, of course. I'm one person who believes that everything happens for a reason, and God will put you at the right place at the right time with the right people.
No, very good. Now, how do you guys work in your program? I understand that you go for camping, and when you get there, what do you do? Is it for vacation? What do you do when you get there?
Not necessarily. So most of our events are very formal and structured in a way where it seems like it's a classroom, where we groom boys on different areas of anger management, low self-esteem, absent fathers, and leadership issues within the family and society. But when we take it to a camping environment, it's because we want to remove the expectation that it's formal, you sit there and one person stands and then they present and you just listen. In a camping environment, we want every person to feel comfortable. We want people to cry when they feel like they need to cry, because a camp environment is there's something about it. It creates something. It prepares you to talk openly, because you can see there's other people that are talking and sharing the same or similar issues that you went through. So it kind of shapes your mind and prepares your emotions to open up. And when you come back, you feel like you have offloaded something and you want to start all over again. So that's one of the reasons why we go camping. We focus more attentively into our own personal issues, because at the end of the day, as much as we wake up and dress up, go to work, we are battling with something in our own personal spaces. And these camp sessions are for us to offload. Yes.
So how do you guys find the people that you go with? Do you go house to house and identify people who have some problems, the boys who have problems? How do you guys find the people?
Fortunately, Rich Learning is well marketed in Gauteng so far. We've also been blessed to have an opportunity to enroll boys from Limpopo, Mpumalanga, and Free State. So the exposure that we've got was through social media and some of the platforms that I was exposed to, such as motivational speaking events. So I always speak about Rich Learning so that people get to know about it. We also have a website. So people just see you sharing about Rich Learning and then they want to know what it's about, and then they feel maybe their child would benefit. And that's how we reached this number. We have about 51 boys that are enrolled now in these 4 provinces that I have mentioned, and we've never went door to door. It's through the power of the work that the program itself offers, and people giving testimonies of how the program has assisted them.
So is there any fee, or is it for free for people who want to enroll?
There is a fee, a very reasonable fee. Our mentorship classes run once in a month on a Saturday for 3 to 4 hours, and boys that are between 18 to 21 pay a fee of 50 rand. Oh, and that actually goes towards the funding of the camp events that we are hosting. And at some point, we try and collect food parcels for boys that are coming from very impoverished families. We also try to get them school shoes and uniform if they are at school. So the profit that we make does not go into Rich Learning's bank account. It sits there. It gives back to the same boys. And we also get sponsors. And
I wanted to ask about that one.
Yeah, but the type of sponsors that we've been getting so far come from people that believe in the vision. It's not people who own big companies such as your Coca-Cola. It's people like yourself who would say, I have seen what Rich Learning is doing and I'd like to donate 1, 2, 3 for the boys. So we haven't received any funding from government or private sectors. When we started Rich Learning, we were funding it from our own pockets. And that's how we wanted to show whoever believes in the vision that we know what we are doing, and this is what we are willing to put into kicking it forward.
But are you planning on approaching the government for?
Of course, but then we want to approach government with references. with evidence. We do not want to, a lot of young people that have ambitions of starting companies and businesses are kicked down because they feel they cannot start because they don't have 1, 2, 3. And we decided to take it upon ourselves to say, let's start with what we have. And then when we pitch for funding, whoever that's interested to fund us will see that this is what we have done and this is how much we have accomplished with the little that we had.
Oh, that is correct. I understand that you also do community development. Can you please explain what?
So with community development, as I mentioned, if we have boys that come from areas which are highly poverty stricken, we try and identify a common problem in that area. It could be that maybe there's a lot of young boys or even young girls in that area who do not have decent educational needs, such as your sanitary towels, school uniform, as I've mentioned. So we try and maybe in 1 month where we buy educational packets and food parcels, and we go and distribute to such small groups of learners. But as I've mentioned, it's kind of a struggle now because we are an NPC and we are still small, we are growing. So our hand isn't that big to reach as many lives as possible when it comes to community development needs. But where we are able, we assist in terms of family structures and a few other learners that we would have identified,
I understand that you also do educational assistance, homeworks, career guidance.
Yeah.
So do you call professionals to come in?
So in Rich Learning, we have a group of mentors that assist in mentoring some of the boys on a one-on-one level. So that's when they attend to their homework issues in their own mentoring space. So I've partnered with people such as Prince Ngwenyane. I'm also working with Josh Recordzo. I'm working with Tiyiselani, Howard Zondo. And these are very strong, powerful, young-minded men who have the same vision for Rich Learning and they understand what it's all about. So those are the people that I work with to help in coaching and assisting the boys with their homeworks and whatnot.
That's very good. Is there or are there any testimonies from your work up to so far?
Yeah, there's a lot. Just that some of these testimonies come directly to me as the founder, They don't get exposed to social media and they come to my inboxes via emails, via calls. And sometimes when the going gets tough and I feel like giving up, I look at those testimonies and I say to myself, I cannot afford to. There's so many people that are fueling me to go and are looking up to me. And Rich Learning is for such people, So there's a lot.
Can you at least quote one or two that you remember?
And just this morning when I woke up, this other friend of mine sent me a text and he said to me, he dreamt about me addressing masses of people and he does not know where I was, but he believes that God trusted me with the assignment for Rich Learning. And he believes that there's an outcry not just in South Africa, but Africa as a continent for a boy child's needs to be attended to. And you know what? I can tell you that the last event that we held, most of the boys that were sent into our event, it's boys that I had never met before and families that I had never met before. And it's through the past testimonies that these people were able to be reached and they were able to trust us by sending their boys. I've had families who did not even know me or had not met me, but they brought their boys to our events, and afterwards they keep asking, when is the next event? Are you doing this again next week? So you can see that the impact is quite big, and it's not easy to measure impact that is not seen sometimes, because the work that we do, its impact is very internal and it's a process. It's not like when you dig a hole, you'll start to see that you are making progress now because you are dealing with human beings. But if a child can come to a class and then they get impacted, and then when they go home, they look at themselves, they start to talk to their parents about how badly they want to go back, then that's something. So those are the type of testimonies that we have been getting.
So when it comes to the issue of education, what are you really instilling in these minds of young boys?
I am one person who believes that education is not the only way to success. I know a lot of great people who are very successful, who have not even made it to varsity or even college. But it's very important to have basic education, the foundation. But do not be so blindfolded to think that it is the only key to your destiny or to what you were born to do. Because in the midst of that, you will miss out on how great you can be as a human being. I also would like to believe that with these boys, what we are doing is also education in a way, as much as it may not look formal, but there's things that we teach them that are not taught at school, such as discipline. And some of the things are taught at school, but not directly so, if such as discipline, as I've mentioned. When you look at the manner in which we are being controlled and programmed, especially in a primary level of school, the main thing that they want to instill in a learner, it's discipline. But they will not tell you that we are teaching you discipline, you know. So when we are with the boys, we get to teach them the realities of life, to say you will go to school, study, and have a qualification. And when you believe that this is the only key to where you are destined to be, you'll be frustrated when now you look for a job and you don't find it, because you have been programmed to believe that it's only through my qualification that I can access 1, 2, 3. So we help them discover something that's hidden within themselves, that whether they have the qualification or not, they can still become greater than they could ever imagine.
No, that's powerful. And when it comes to the role of leadership, how do you groom those boys to become the best leaders ever?
So what I do with all the boys that I have them on my WhatsApp, and we talk even telephone at any time of the night, any time of the day, and we talk as if we are brothers, you know. And my goal with them is that I want to know them on a personal level, because your goal might be different from his goal. And that's how you can actually get to help a leader become a leader in their own space, the way they want to become a leader. Because I cannot groom you guys the same way if I do not know you on a personal level. Your goals might be different from the next person. So I try and build a relationship with them where we talk openly on WhatsApp, video calls and whatnot. And I want to understand to them, what does being a leader mean to them? And what is it that they would like to lead in? Some want to be property investors, some want to be motivational speakers, some still want to be doctors. So I attend to those things and I coach them into becoming what they want to become, because not all of them want to be like Tiyiselani Mokhari. Some wants to be soccer players. You can still become a leader in a soccer field. So that's how I groom them into their different areas of leadership.
Okay. And you have said earlier that you have realized that the boy child is being neglected. What can you say about the statement, hashtag men are trash?
I don't blame the people that have made that statement to trash. And one of the reasons why I do not, it's because someone was hurt and someone was badly impacted emotionally. And that's how they described the person that hurt them or that violated their rights to be trash. So men are trash is not a statement that was just formulated because people were bored. People lost their lives. People were raped. Their rights were taken away from them. To me, that statement shows that there's something wrong with us men. I think a lot of us men are broken and we are not willing to confront it. We are not willing to visit ourselves and fix ourselves. So if a woman is going to look at me and think I am trash, I would actually want to understand what makes them think that I am trash. And if the whole society thinks I'm trash, then clearly something must be wrong. And the question is, am I willing to visit myself and fix the trash and actually prove that I am not actually trash? It's a pity that even men that are actually not trash are almost painted by the same brush. But why? It's because women are living in such a scarce society. They can't afford to trust a man now. Even if you are a decent man, you want to offer a girl a lift, or she's stranded, or you want to pay for her groceries, or just do her a favor. There will always be that question: what does he want in return? Can I trust him? And clearly, something is wrong with us and not with them, because they are not doing anything wrong. Do you understand?
Yeah.
So it's a statement that I have acknowledged, and I've understood that it means there's something that I need to work on very aggressively as a man.
Mr. Mokhari, thank you very much, sir. I am very motivated. I'm very motivated. Now, I just want you to say your last words based on the issue of stopping abuse, in any form of gender.
Yeah.
Because I believe that abuse in itself, it's wrong for any gender, not only for women,
Of course.
Yeah. So just your last words on that issue.
It's so sad that abuse, when we talk about abuse, automatically in our heads we assume a man abusing a woman.
Yes.
And I can tell you now, I've worked with a lot of men, older and younger, who have been severely abused by women. I am one person who was emotionally and physically abused myself as a child for a long time. And that actually made me to hate women at some point. And as I was growing up and starting to get into the dating field, I was so selfish. I would consider my own feelings. I would not care about another woman's feeling or my partner, because I grew up hating women because of how I was being treated by my stepmother, and the fact that my biological mother was away. I could not understand women at that point, because those were the only two women that I was exposed to in my life. I had never met any other woman who treated me better. So sometimes it's either you have been victimized of abuse yourself as a man and you have not dealt with it, that's why you are abusing another woman, or the woman is abusing you, and now because you are expected to a man, you are lashing out because you want your power to be felt. So you are using wrong ways to exert your anger and to mistreat another person because you want her to feel that you are the man at the end of the day. But also there's broken men who are just quiet. They are being abused. They are being cheated on, openly so, by their partners, and they cannot say anything about it because they are scared. They feel like their powers have been taken away from them, and also they have an identity issue of what it means to be a man. Because there's actually a difference between being a man and being a male. There's roles that come with that. You as a male, it's just your gender, but what does it mean to be a man? So the issue of abuse is not an issue that is one-sided to me. There's a lot of young men that are being abused by women, and it's just not trending as much as the opposite is trending.
Now, what do you do about it? In the same note, we have heard stories that a man was abused and he went to police station to report a case. And what happens when he got there? The police laughed at him.
Of course.
So how do you solve that? Because it's a real thing.
It's not easy. Firstly, I must say that a lot of officials where the abuse of a man gets reported to, especially in the SAPS department, they are not trained to deal with such issues. Some of them are not even social workers. A professional social worker who's well trained and groomed in the profession will not laugh at a man who says, I have been abused. They will attend to it as gently as they would if it was the opposite. Yeah. So clearly something is wrong in that area. But also as a man, if you are being trapped in an abusive relationship or in an area where you're being abused by the opposite sex, you need to start talking about it. Find, it could be someone that's very close to you. It could be a pastor, your teacher, or your mentor, or even your brother. Start talking about it to say, 1, 2, 3 is happening to me. Because the other thing that's killing us young men is that we don't talk about these things. And one day it happens to you, become angry, the anger explodes because you have been bottling it for a long time. And anger is such a toxic, powerful thing. You don't know what you are going to do from there. That's why you have men that are in jail. They have killed multiple times. They have stabbed. They have shot multiple gun ones, and they can't explain how they were feeling at that time. That's how powerful anger is. But the minute you start talking about it, slowly it feels like something is going out, and you start to see ways in which you can solve that particular problem. And I must also add that a lot of us black people, this counseling thing is so new to us, it does not really work for some of us, but it's something that we need to start attending to. So when you feel that you are being in an abusive relationship, find a professional who has been trained. Speak to them, go to a clinic, go to your nearest hospital, speak to a professional who would want to help you overcome your problem. Abuse is real and it's very damaging emotionally.
If people want to know more about Rich Learning Program, where can they find you?
So on Facebook we are available. We're very active on Facebook specifically. Our Facebook page is Rich Learning Mentorship, and our contact numbers are 081 505 0046. We also have a website. It's www.richlearningmp.com. Our email address is office@richlearningmp.com.
Mr. Mokhari,
Yes,
thank you once again, sir,
It's a
for
pleasure.
coming to the show.
Thanks for inviting me.
And I am willing to see you again.
Yes, definitely.
Ladies and gentlemen, you are watching Inspired Conversations, Living the Legacy with Legends. Let's meet next time, same place, on Global Conference TV. The journey continues.